Despite the show being called Star Wars Ahsoka, many other characters have already become fan favourites, be they the ones who made the jump from animation to live action, or the new faces and helmets getting everyone speculating. One character who originated in the Clone Wars series is Huyang. This architect droid of the model Mark IV was constructed 25,000 years before the events of the original trilogy. He has trained thousands of generations of Jedi, and we first saw him in the Clone Wars Season 5. He trained younglings in constructing their first lightsabers, and once upon a time, he even guided Master Yoda in building his first. And now Lucasfilm Publishing's recent reference book Star Wars Timelines revealed that Huyang was created within 5 years of the Jedi Order's original formation. This presumably means that Huyang was built by the first Force user who called themselves a Jedi. And this means that Huyang could very well appear in James Mangold's Dawn of the Jedi film, and when you think of it, he is a character who could appear in all 3 upcoming Star Wars films announced at Star Wars Celebration. Now that he is a fixture of Ahsoka's journey, and presumably is sticking around, he might be central to Dave's Mandalorian film too. And then later in the timeline during the construction of Rey's Jedi Order, her academy after the rise of Skywalker, Huyang could be present there as well. And I'm truly hoping that Disney takes note of how loved this character is. He is a droid that remembers the origins of the Jedi Order and tries to maintain their standards, as exemplified in Episode 3 of Ahsoka when training with Sabine Wren. Rey, in her time as a Jedi Master, could do well to have Huyang around, instructing a new Jedi Order on how to build their lightsabers and helping them with their basic forms. David Tennant has been so phenomenal in this series. I hope they continue using him. After all, it's become traditional and customary for droids to serve as the connective tissue in Star Wars projects, with R2-D2 and C-3PO playing that role in the Skywalker saga, and Huyang could continue that tradition, helping to ensure the next 3 movies, despite taking place at different time periods, feel like part of a cohesive whole rather than simply scattershot. Even if the movies explore vastly different points of the Star Wars timeline, having Huyang as a common presence could be awesome, or at least just in one of the films, maybe in Charmin Obaid-Chinoy's post-Rise of Skywalker movie alongside BB-8, who no doubt will feature there too. It's impressive that Huyang has all the memories of the Jedi he's encountered over the years. It's pretty awesome that a droid like him retains so much information, 25 years worth of data, but his reactions to the different incarnations of the Jedi would be fascinating. We saw him in the Age of the Republic during the Clone Wars, now in the New Republic in both the Ahsoka series, and maybe Dave's film. The wisdom and lessons he's imparted along the way. One of my favourite scenes of Ahsoka so far was after Sabine Wren recovered from the lightsaber stab by Shin, and Huyang, despite his sarcasm and somewhat lack of belief in Sabine, ironically is the one who convinces her to take up the lightsaber and the training once again. And he's pushing Sabine, already expressing doubts over her abilities. I predict he's going to have a bigger role later in the season. He already gives us important info, remembering the lightsaber of Balin's skull, and giving us our first canon information about him. I'm keeping my fingers crossed that Lucasfilm will capitalize on Huyang's potential and maximize his usage. A humorous, witty, but knowledgeable and informative companion makes for a refreshing and much-needed addition, but if there is one complaint, it's that he's being underused, at least so far. Huyang's arsenal of knowledge extends beyond lightsabers and overall weaponry. Per the official Star Wars databank, he possesses a repository of ancient Jedi lore. He's basically a living encyclopedia for all things Jedi. His memory and data may prove useful to surviving Jedi, but it also makes him one of the most valuable characters the show has, and his talents, according to some, are not being put to great use. To some extent, he occupies an interesting role. To Rosario Dawson's Ahsoka, he is a jack of all trades, not just a source of Jedi history, but a pilot and a confidant too. When Ahsoka expresses her dismay, she can confide in Huyang. He's got a very human side, reminiscent you might say of 3PO, despite them being 2 very different kinds of droids. I think it's to do with his staunch programming, which gives him a sense of humour and a compassionate side. But beyond identifying rogue ex-Jedi like Balin, or serving as a middleman between Ahsoka and Sabine, he does have talents that will be used elsewhere, I'm sure by the end of Season 1. While Ahsoka and Sabine set out on a search for Thrawn and Ezra, Luke is working pretty much on his own. Are we going to see Huyang helping him? He could be a great resource for the new Jedi Academy. His experience would be useful, but I suppose this could mean bad news for the future. Is Huyang part of the tragedy that takes place at Luke's temple on Ossus? That's kind of why I'm thinking he stays with Ahsoka and Sabine. But as I say, I'm really hoping Lucasfilm take note and we do see him in one of the upcoming films. If not all of them, he's fantastic. Now here is a point of speculation that Star Wars fans want to know the answer to. Where are these characters, notably the Star Wars Rebels characters, during the time period of the sequel trilogy? We often say that all of these Mandoverse characters are out doing something else during this time, but I have a theory that maybe Ahsoka, Sabine, and Huyang all stay stuck in the second galaxy, or maybe it's intentional. I think Hera Syndulla definitely comes back because the ghost can be seen in The Rise of Skywalker. A few have theorized that Ahsoka's name, inspired by a prominent Indian emperor known as Ashoka the Great, could give us a clue as to what's in store for a future. Ashoka spread the teachings of Buddhism throughout the Indian subcontinent, and I saw a theory that stated that maybe Ahsoka's going to bring the Force to the second galaxy, and that's where she stays because there isn't too much left for her here. Is this true? After the long battle we expect between the New Republic and Thrawn, she might stay there and start a new order. The Jedi legends spoke of Peridea for a reason. What else is out there that could entice Ahsoka to stay? Has Ezra become part of this new way of the Force? Is there a vergence? I guess we'll find out. And that should be soon. Could she be contacting Rey later on in the timeline in The Rise of Skywalker from Peridea? Because Dave Filoni said, despite Ahsoka being amongst the Force voices in episode 9, it doesn't mean that she died. It could be through a Force portal. Again, just a theory, and if this is the case, then Huyang might be out there doing that with her. But I wanted to share my love and appreciation for David Tennant, his cadence as the voice of the character, and just the way he's brought this one to life in live action is fantastic. I loved him in the Clone Wars, and I'm loving him so far in this show. And the Ahsoka series might be the last live action show for quite a long time, because Bespin Bulletin have revealed that Skeleton Crew, the Disney Plus series featuring Jude Law that was going to release sometime later this winter, is being pushed not just to 2024, but late 2024. The Acolytes might follow the same fate, and Andor Season 2, which stopped filming near the end of production, is probably going to be pushed back even further. So we need to cherish Ahsoka. We don't know the situation with the Bad Batch Season 3 just yet, but it looks as though there's going to be another Star Wars drought. But what do you guys think? Share your thoughts on this and everything we spoke about in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to give me a big fat thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, and if you want more videos not found here on YouTube while also getting access to our Discord server, then click the link down below. But until the next one, my dear friends, may the Force be with you, always.